Hey there, this is Dr. Maria with mycustomherbs.com, and we are on to part 4 of Meet Your Digestive System. So good job sticking with us so far. We're going to follow things up, or finish them up, I should say, here in the large intestine, otherwise known as the bowel, the large bowel, and the colon is another name for it. And it's located a little bit further down in the abdomen, as demonstrated by Milo the stunt dog here. And so we've gone over earlier steps in digestion, what goes on in the stomach, and then what happens in the small intestine in terms of digestion, food and nutrient breakdown and absorption. And now we're moving further down the track into the large intestine that the small intestine hooks into. And so one part of the large intestine that I just want to touch on is the appendix, and it's this little bit that sticks out towards the beginning of the large intestine, and most people only ever think of their appendix when it gets inflamed and lands you in the hospital for removal. And so it's thought to be a vestigial tissue or organ that we no longer use. But things can get stuck there and cause problems. So I just wanted to point out where the appendix is for those with a burning curiosity about that. And so our digestives, or at least the stuff that has not yet been absorbed in the small intestine, gets into the large intestine through the ileocecal valve. So this is the valve that connects the ileum of the small intestine and the cecum of the large intestine. So again, this is how stuff comes in from the small intestine into the large. And then in the cecum itself, the first stretch of the large intestine, that incoming stuff, and so digestive enzymes, remaining nutrients, undigestible stuff like fibers, bile from the liver, is all coming in and getting mixed with mucus. And in the cecum, we have water being absorbed as we start to compact that material that is moving down the digestive tract. We have electrolytes, or basically minerals, also being absorbed in the cecum. And the next stretch of the large intestine, and in fact a lot of the large intestine is carrying out some similar functions. So we have the ascending colon here, meaning that it's the part of the colon where things are moving up. And again, more water absorption, more electrolyte absorption here. A lot of our microbiome is here, and I'll talk about that just briefly, and there'll be a whole series of videos that delves into our microbiome, but I'll come back to that. We have vitamin K absorption happening here in the ascending colon. And basically the same story going on in the transverse colon as the material moving through gets a little bit drier, a little bit more solid as it's compacting down. And then by the time we get over to the descending colon, we've really got basically poop that is resulting. So we've had a lot of the absorption of nutrients being completed by about now. There's still a little bit more water absorption happening as that poop is being formed. And so we essentially store wastes in the descending colon. And then we get into the sigmoid colon that is kind of bending around. Again, this is more waste storage here, and it's kind of holding on to our solid wastes, our stools, and then slowly moves it along as it exits the body. And so the rectum is the last storage place, but this is also what launches our waste out through the anus. And so, in fact, the rectum actually has stretch receptors in it that triggers that urge to defecate. And so sometimes people have problems with that urge. For instance, if there's nerve damage going on, or if somebody maybe has things like multiple sclerosis going on, sometimes that reflex is defective. And this goes a little bit beyond the point of this discussion, but there are some herbs like yellow dock, like Cascara sagrada in low doses that can sometimes help retrain that rectum to function, to help move those feces out. Now, I do want to just touch briefly on the fact that our colon is largely the home of our microbiome. And so the microbiome are microbes, so the mostly bacteria, but also a lot of fungi, including yeasts, and also viruses that infect the resident bacteria and other microbes as well that live in our gut. And there are microbes throughout our digestive tract. Actually, our mouth has resident microbes living in it, our esophagus, even our stomach. It used to be thought that the stomach was sterile, but because of the high acidity there. But no, there are actually some microbes that live in the stomach, and there are some that live in the small intestine, but the vast majority of them live in our large intestine, all sorts of microbes, many, many, many of them. And they participate in things like vitamin production. They help with that electrolyte or that mineral uptake, things like calcium and magnesium and iron. Our resident gut microbes help protect us from invasion by unwanted microbes. They help us break down stuff that we can't digest so that we actually get beneficial nutrients and other components from those things. Again, such as fiber would be an example there. These microbes help train our immune system how to function properly, and they have a lot of other functions that we'll get into in the next series of videos. And so this is quite literally and figuratively the end, and tune in next time as we delve into our gut microbiome and the amazing things that it does. Be well.